Welcome back. Welcome. This is the No1 Podcast. I am your host, Jake Shannon. Hope you guys are doing good today. I am having a problem with the Instagram feed. It keeps telling me it's pausing and reconnecting. So sorry, Instagram. That's just how it goes. Hello, everybody out there. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. So the last couple days, I have shared with you guys that I am committing to do this frequently, like every day, podcast. So I've committed to do this every day. I want to build a following. I want to help you guys. And I can help people in a couple ways. I can help you move. I've done that before. But I think realistically, over the internet, I can help you guys with information in particular with regards to what my two fields of endeavor where I have expertise. One is in submission grappling, particularly catch as catch can, and in business development. So that is with my project, thalescoaching.com, THALES coaching.com. Now, the last couple days, I started out talking about this signature talk I'm working on called Wrestling with Greatness. Had 4 components to it that I think are super important in terms of modeling greatness and creating something of value. What I would suggest is you go back and listen to those prior podcasts. You can go to anchor.fm/NO1-podcast. You can just find it on my YouTube channel, which is just under my name, Jake Shannon, and all the other socials and whatnot. So as well as Spotify and elsewhere. There were 4 things that I talked to you about on Monday as well as yesterday, and I want to expand on it today. And I promised I would tell everybody what my big failures were, some of the failed ideas I've had in business. So I don't know. Hopefully this is good for a laugh or some. I don't know. Hopefully you guys get something out of this. I just want you to understand that this is in particular to the third point of the 4 points on greatness that I was talking about. First point is you got to get real. You got to do a true assessment. You got to get honest with yourself, have that man in the mirror kind of conversation where you get real. Some people call that rock bottom. I don't know what you call it, but you got to get real. 2, you've got to get obsessed. You've got to find something that you are absolutely obsessed with in a healthy way, right? For me, it was grappling and business. In particular, business as an expression of my personal philosophy of libertarianism. And then, so we've got get real with yourself. 2, get obsessed. 3, this is the one that I was talking about. You've got to really take risk. You got to put it out there. You got to be willing to lose. And that's what I'm going to talk about today is the things where I thought they were great ideas, and some of the ways that I've overcome that, and some of the ways I help my clients overcome problems in business, the way I learned it the hard way. So that's number 3 is take risks. And then number 4 for you guys was that you have to, hey, what's up, everybody, Instagram? I hope you guys can see me. I don't know. It keeps telling me that there's bad connection. So I hope you guys can see me out there. Anyway, the 4th is that you have to take a tremendous amount of effort. It's massive action, so much work for real. Okay, I'm not talking backbreaking like shoveling ditches, which I did for a number of years. Nothing like that. What I'm talking about is being your own boss. And most people don't want to be their own boss. Okay, I mean, they want to, they say it, they give it lip service. But just when you become your own boss, you still have a freaking boss. Hey, what's up, Alex? I do not know what's going on in Instagram. I'm not sure if you guys could see me or whatnot. Instagram is acting really weird. So here we go. Here is what I'm going to tell you some of my stupider ideas. Okay. Now, I didn't think they were stupid. Here's another thing. You've got to be an optimist. If you're going to be get into business for yourself and be an entrepreneur, you have to be an optimist. You just do, because otherwise it will not work, right? If you believe that the world is ending and you need to be building your bunker and all this shit, and you're getting bullets for currency and all that. I mean, I'm not against insurance. I have that prepped stuff. Okay, I'm not against that, but like you have to really believe that things are going to work out well, or you won't be a good entrepreneur, in my opinion. Now, okay, that said, drum roll. We'll get to some of the awful ideas that I've come up with. So the first day we talked about, my own personal experiences with my health and whatnot, and how that related to wrestling and how I ended up getting to where I am. Yesterday we talked about taking that framework, what I called wrestling with greatness, and expanding it out to other endeavors, and how I solved the problem the day I decided I stopped being poor, right? So yeah, everybody's telling me that it's super laggy over here for you guys. Let's see what happens here. See if I can't fix this for Instagram. Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's pretty crappy. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to let it roll and hopefully it figures itself out. So with regards to taking risk and not being afraid to fail, like I said, day one was talking about the general framework. Day two was applying it outside of wrestling, how I applied it to finance, right? And the day I decided to stop being poor. So today I wanted to talk to you about, you cannot be afraid to fail. You just can't. You have to be willing to fail. That's just the deal. So when I first started as an entrepreneur, I'd always been interested in it, but I hadn't, just as an idea, but well, I won't say always. It first really came across my radar. I always thought because I came from parents that never had their own businesses, that were very blue collar, total boomer, kind of typical boomer, lower middle class ideology and values. And it was always about, you got to get a job. You got to get a job, good job, work 40 years, get a pension, retire, blah, blah, blah. So that was beat into my head. So, I went to college, got a scholarship to the University of Colorado Boulder for a leadership scholarship. It's some prestigious thing called the President's Leadership Class. I mean, out of like the 10,000 or however many incoming freshmen that come into the University of Colorado every year, I think they only select like 25 or 40. I don't know. I can't remember the number, but it's like crazy. And I was very fortunate to get in there because nobody else had ever gone to college in my immediate family. So I was the first. And then, that didn't get me a high paying job. I got an English degree back in the mid 90s. Okay. So that was like awful in terms of an investment ROI. It was awful. So per yesterday, I had this epiphany. I had this rock bottom in the middle 90s, and I decided to stop being dirt poor and picking out cockroach parts out of my Chinese food because I was so hungry and still eating it. That I enrolled in graduate school, ended up getting my master's degree in financial engineering. I did finally land a high-paying job. I worked in corporate America after graduating for about five or 6 years. And after graduating, it was only about 5 years, but during grad school as well, which took me about 3.5 years because I was working at the same time. So about 8, almost 10 years, I worked in corporate America. By the time I graduated, I had a 6-figure gig. I was in my early 30s, making probably way more money than I should have for my maturity level at that time. Very Wolf of Wall Street type of lifestyle. Squandered a lot of it and just ridiculous. But a lot of lessons learned as usual. So the thing is this. I was really into gangster rap. Okay. I don't know if there's anybody else here who in the mid 90s was just absolutely uh way into gangster rap, dude. I was super into it. Okay. So I was listening, this had to be 2000, the year 2000. I think that's when Dr. Dre's album 2001. It came out the year prior to 2001, 2000. I was listening, there was a song, and in it, it said, the song is "What's the Difference?" or "What's the Difference Between Us?" or something on that album. And there's this lyric where he says, "Move units, and then we'll talk about reunions" or some shit. It's like a weird diss track or something. So anyway, that got me thinking. I'm like, move units. Okay, Dr. Dre, back then CDs, or people were selling CDs, and I was like, okay, Dr. Dre, he sells this CD for like $15, and if he sells 100,000 of those, that's like 1.5 million or whatever. So I was like, move units. So if I had a product that I could sell for $1 to 1 million people, I can make $1 million. Or if I had a $10 product, yada yada yada. I don't know. Maybe this is not such a big deal for most people, but for me, it was a big deal to think about a complete different way of existing. So, hey, what's up, CL, man? Yeah, NWA, dude. I was just listening to that. Express Yourself this morning. So anyway, I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I started doing an inventory. What can I sell? What can I sell? This is like 2001, so I'm 28 years old. I'm like, I don't know what I could sell. I don't have like a ton of experience yet. I don't have, what can I sell? I'm not quite sure. So I started doing an inventory. Now at this time, I don't know if I told this story before, but I had been doing submission grappling up until about 98, 99, right? So I was doing all this submission grappling, and I was not getting any traction. I was not connected. I still was open to this idea of MMA, but I had no idea how to get booked. And, and on top of that, I'm trying to juggle. I'm still in San Francisco making minimum wage job, a minimum wage. It was rough, right? So I ended up dating this stripper, smoking hot, super good looking, total disaster, right? Like, you want to talk about hot stove? Date a stripper, dude. That shit. And I was engaged to two, like dumb. Anyway, this one that I was with, I was really trying to impress her and all this kind of stuff. And I'm doing grappling. Nobody's really heard of it still. It's still super fringe. And so, but this was the era of like the classic era of SmackDown, right? Like we had The Rock, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin, that cool version of Triple H, like it was huge, right? And so this stripper was like super crazy into it. And I was just a young man. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm not trying to impress her. So I started getting involved with pro wrestling. That's just how it goes. I had one other thing that pushed me over the edge. I had mentioned yesterday I had all these weird jobs in San Francisco, and one of them I was working at a video store. And one of my friends recommended that I get this thing called I'm From Hollywood. And it was a documentary that was created by Andy Kaufman, which later became the movie with Jim Carrey and all that. But I was upset because I think I have a couple different obsessions. One is clearly grappling. Two is business development. I am absolutely obsessed with comedy as well, right? Like, I love it. I even dabbled. I was a comedy hypnotist for a minute. I collected comedy records for ages. Like, I'm like a nerd for that stuff. I love it. And I hope maybe you guys get a sense of my sense of humor. I got a picture of Rodney Dangerfield in my living room. Okay. Like, I don't know what to tell you. George Carlin, first comedian I ever saw, huge influence, man. Like, anyway. So, I was not getting any of the connections that I wanted to have through martial arts, right? And I had this influence of Andy Kaufman doing this wrestling thing, which I thought was totally brilliant from like kind of performance art and comedy, that perspective. And then, this influence of this girl that I was trying to impress. So we ended up moving out of San Francisco. I got a good job offer. We were engaged, short lived. Moved back to Colorado, and I enrolled in a pro wrestling school. Okay, so I enrolled in this pro wrestling school. By the way, great school. Met all kinds of friends. Still friends with them today. My friend Nikita, she ended up working in WWE developmental out of that school. Ryan Katz ended up working with and doing a lot of the creative behind NXT, WWE NXT for years. It was just it was actually a pretty good group. Ironically, now I brand some stuff CWO for Scientific Wrestling, Catch World Order, like the NWO from WCW, Scott Hall and all those guys. But it's Catch World Order, CWO. Well, the wrestling organization I was with was called Central Wrestling Organization here out of Denver. So anyway, it was pretty cool. The thing was, pro wrestling is very different than grappling, at least in the United States. In Japan, less so, and I might get into that a little bit today. But the deal was, it was back in an era. I started getting. Now I'm tall. I'm like 6'1", but I've always been lanky. Okay. And that's just naturally where my body settles in. I've always been tall and thin. And so, or thinner, right? So, but back then, it's different now. A lot of these stigmas and stereotypes and body image things have gone out the door. Now, a lot of these pro wrestlers that are at the top of the game, guys like Zack Sabre Jr., totally lanky noodle guy, same build. Adam Cole, a little tiny dude. Like, these are like guys at the top of the game, and they never would have been in the era that I was coming up. In the era I came up, it was all, you had to be like 6'4", 250 pounds minimum. This is my way of telling you why I did what I did. So I get obsessed. I take risks. I get real, right? I take massive action. And so I did that with this endeavor. Now, I did have some modest success. I had a tryout with WWE for the very first WWE Tough Enough in, I'm going to say that was 2001-ish. I don't know. Whatever that first season was with Maven and all those guys. And met one of my really good, solid friends here in Colorado, John Fab, who was also a wrestler and had interest in martial arts and grappling and striking and whatnot. Anyway, I started lifting, started doing all the proteins, the creatines, everything that it took, right? Including steroids. Okay. I'm just being real, man. I don't do that anymore. But right around 2000, man, I was doing D-Bowl, Deca, Sustanon. Like, I was trying to get jacked. And, my natural weight is probably about 190, 195-ish. I think I might be at about 200 right now. I've been lifting a lot. But when I'm not lifting, I'm kind of 190 naturally at 6'1". Doing all the protein, doing all the heavy lifting and juicing, I got up to about 225, 230. So I got pretty built. And I think that, that I had to do that in order to get taken seriously. Like I said, I had WWE tryout. I connected with a wrestling organization that was tied to the Vans Warped Tour, and I toured all around the United States and Canada. I was able to go and train with Ultimo Dragon down in a suburb of Mexico known as Naucalpan, with T2P, that group of guys, for anybody that knows what the hell I'm talking about. So anyway, that's my long story. I ended up figuring out how to get steroids, and this is kind of before the internet was really humming. This is right around 2000. People didn't know how to research and that kind of stuff. But I was getting mine, okay? Because I found a number of offshore pharmacies that would mail it. Okay, this is all totally illegal. I'm pretty sure I passed the statute of limitations or whatever. I mean, I was doing it to myself anyway. So long story short, I get jacked. I'm happy. It's all working out, whatever. I'm gonna be honest, like I really didn't like, especially things like D-ball and Sustanon, man, that like those oil-based ones, and you had to get them shot in your ass, and then you had like these deposits, and they were like Charlie horses. Oh, awful, awful. I only did it for a couple months to get the size that I really wanted to. But anyway, I ended up getting a letter. I'm working at this job. It was my first really cool titled job. I was a statistician for a company known as DoubleClick, or Abacus Direct was the actual subsidiary that I worked with, but the big corporation was DoubleClick. And my title was associate statistician. It was super cool. Well, I'm happy living in Colorado. I end up breaking up with that stripper. Way too much drama, dude. She was a disaster. I can remember to this day, we were at like Vitamin Cottage and she was acting super dumb in drama. And I'm just, man, beat down going around with this girl. And this young lady, this cute young lady, stops me and she goes, are your initials BMI or something? I can't remember the exact. And I'm like, BMI? No. She's like, that's the name of a trash company. Okay. She goes, so why are you picking up trash? And it just lit up. I was like, oh shit. Even this person is seeing that I'm being treated poorly and I'm chasing after this person and it's stupid. So kicked her to the curb and I got a letter. And the letter said, hey, this is Golden Gate University in San Francisco. We are closing down your graduate program. You need to come and take these classes or figure out a whole other degree. And I wanted my master's science in financial engineering. They had to close it down because the field was becoming so popular. Berkeley, right across the bay, started their own program. And it just was, everybody was going there instead of mine. So I was in this first class of people doing it at Golden Gate. That was the first degree program in that field in the area. So I ended up going, I packed up my shit and moved back to San Francisco, okay, to finish up grad school. Now, this was kind of a cool period of time. I moved back there and I'm still thinking like move units, like what can I sell? What can I sell? And so I'm in San Francisco. This is right in 2001. I got another gig at this subprime credit card company. I was known as a SaaS analyst. SaaS is a software program for statisticians. It's called Statistical Analytical Software. That's what it originally, the acronym stands for. But anyway, so I get this gig and move back to San Francisco. I'm going to finish up my grad degree. It's cool. I do it, but I'm struggling because right then 9/11 happens and the entire economy just collapses. And I'm stuck in another expensive, in San Francisco, super expensive, no cash flow again. I mean, it was totally like a replay of when I first moved to San Francisco the first time. And I'm like, God damn. All right. So I got to figure this out. So now though, I got Dr. Dre in my head saying move units. Okay. I know this is a very long way of telling this story. And I appreciate you guys' patience. Here's where we get to the good stuff. So and so it wasn't a complete failure. I know I said I'll get to those, but the first thing that I ever tried to sell, I took all the pharmacies from Mexico and Germany and all these other pharmacies from around the world where knew that I could go contact them and they would ship me the steroids in the United States discreetly. I wrote them all down in a Word doc. And I went down to the whatever it was back then, Kinko's or whatever, and printed them all out and made a little directory. It was probably about 25 pages of people they could contact. It was size, there was a lot of different companies they could contact. Now, I had this epiphany to do that because I was in Gold's Gym in San Francisco, and I'm as straight as the day is. I don't get hung up on it. I don't give a crap what you do, with whom, what the fuck kind of weird pronoun you need. Just whatever, dude. Just be cool. I'll be cool. I'll try to be respectful. You try to be. I don't give a shit. Okay. But I am super straight. Like I never, and again, I'm not judging, but it's just not my thing. But I'm in San Francisco. By the way, I totally get what women get when they are like sexually harassed or whatever, because dude, man, I was young dude in shape in San Francisco, man. I had so many old creepers like trying to hit on me and shit turned me out. It was awful. But you know, I'm there and I'm taking like I'm getting real. I'm having an assessment of what's going on. And hey, what's up, Luis? Good to see you, bro. I'm not sure if you guys are getting this on Instagram. I don't know if it's actually going or what, but I hope it's not laggy still. That's the feedback I keep getting. So anyway, I'm in Gold's Gym. I'm doing my thing, but I keep looking around. I'm like, God damn, dude, all these gay dudes are ripped. These guys are fucking ripped as shit. And then it like kind of clues in. I'm like, oh man, these gay guys are ripped because like for them, that's what's attracted to other dudes is being all, you know, what, I don't know. I just have this idea. I'm like, okay, shit. These guys are fucking getting juiced because I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, okay, these guys are just in here and they look like juice heads. Like I just telling you, like I'd been around them. I knew what it looked like. And, you know, I'm like, that is what I've got to do. I'm going to take that listing of all these different people that I was had for contacts. I'm going to make a directory, staple it. And I put an ad on the back of the San Francisco Weekly, right? Which back then was more of a big deal before the internet. A lot of people went through the weekly for ads and classifieds and articles and whatnot. Anyway, the back page was like a good spot to advertise. So I took out an ad, you know, warn about where to get steroids overseas or something. I can't remember the ad. This is like 20, 25, almost 30 years ago. And I did, and I charged something like $49 or something for this thing, for this information product. And and I got a safety deposit box, and the checks started coming in, and I was like, "Holy shit! I'm moving units. This is some real stuff." And to me, that's when I just everything shit. And then I started thinking about what the fuck can I sell? What can I sell? What can I sell? And because I'm obsessed with wrestling and because everything I was doing had to do with wrestling, that was my first kind of thing. And so my first product that I sold just 2 years later was the Authoritative Encyclopedia of Scientific Wrestling, which is essentially, I took all of these old out of print books that were like technique books, had like chokes and double wrist locks and leg locks and whatnot back from 100 years prior, to show people, because there was this thing, you know, just anyway, whatever. And so I create this book, and that starts selling. So I'm like, holy shit, man, this is super cool. So now everything, I'm like, what can I do? You know, it was really an exciting time. So now, so the steroid listing, I was successful, but I was like, okay, this is not what I want my legacy to be. This is like kind of like a gray area in the law. I don't need to get, so I ran that for a while until it stopped. I stopped getting checks in that would be making me more money than the cost of the postal mailbox and the ad. And so when that kind of died down, I just shut that down. I was like, okay, whatever. And I moved on and started doing, making books. Okay. So for you guys that I'm telling you, for me, becoming an author absolutely changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. Okay. So anybody that's interested in doing that, in becoming an author, I would suggest that you go to authority-coaching.com. That's my program. I can help you get your book out. It really depends on you, man. If you're coachable and you're serious and you're obsessed, we can get you from zero manuscript. I've done this before. I have a client, go there, authority-coaching.com. You can read the testimonials. In less than 6 weeks, got her a book on Amazon, making money. Anyway, massively important if you want to make an impact. Again, if you want to become an authority, look at the root of the word authority. Author is the first part of it, right? So anyway, but that one, I don't want to talk about all the things that I've had success with, like the Mace Bell or Scientific Wrestling or the Reverse Mortgage Consultancy or Game Master Software. I want to talk about maybe some of the other things that you don't know that I've been involved with. Some of them have been modestly successful, but we shuttered the doors and whatnot. So my first non-wrestling, non-fitness, well, I guess it's fitness related. I was working in financial engineering. I was working a lot with computer programming and Excel in particular, and Visual Basic and these kind of things. So I decided I was going to make basically a Excel spreadsheet with pre-programmed functions that were specific for weight and fitness measurement, right? Because this is one of the things that I was trying to promote, was this idea of benchmarking. I'm a big, in terms of like measuring performance and whatnot, and that's if you're doing modeling in finance to see how accurate something is, or in fitness to actually you have to measure things. You have to measure. And so I came up with this. It was actually, I tried to sell it. I think I might have sold 2 or 3. That was it. And I branded it Fitnomics, like economics and fitness. I don't know, a stupid name, Fitnomics. And basically you bought this spreadsheet with these special functions that I had written behind the scenes, and you could put them into a spreadsheet and start measuring all these different fitness metrics. For, like, say you were a personal trainer and you had like all these clients, you could just open these tabs, recreate it, and you could have an infinite number of clients in here. Each client has their own tab, and you could have all these benchmarking things where you could start tracking their progress and spitting out stats and reports and whatnot. So I really tried to make that go, but it was significantly a different market, trying to market like fitness software back in that had to be 2002, I would imagine. Yeah, I think it was 2002, because I was still up in I was working in Berkeley for this company named Financial Engineering Associates. And what we were selling then were very similar. This is how I learned to do it. We were selling functions that would help calculate financial derivative products, which are notoriously difficult to price. That's why you got to learn things like the Black-Scholes model. I mean, this whole book here is like the Bible in that subject. But anyway, and it's a lot of math and like I can just binomial pricing models and all this other shit. So anyway, I was like, well, I'm going to take this idea, I'm going to apply it to fitness and try to, and I couldn't get it to go. It was much more difficult to try, especially back in 2002, to get personal trainers to open up Excel. It just, spreadsheets, like computers still hadn't really infiltrated. There was no social media. Cell phones weren't smart really yet. It was a different era. So Fitnomics was the first one. Total stinker. Didn't go. The steroid listing, it was just enough of a gray market. I didn't really want that. What else? My wife and I, here's one that we did. So when I first met my wife, I met her at a dog rescue. I got to tell that story. This story, I married the woman of my dreams, and my best friend and my business partner for 16 years, going strong. We spent all our time together, 3 kids, moved all over the country together. Just my human being. But I met her largely because of Carl Gotch. And in a way, Joe Rogan was my wingman. So I will tell that story maybe some other time. But when I met her basically because I had to adopt a pit bull. And this was at the urging of Carl Gotch. So I meet her. It's all amazing. And we end up getting married and all this kind of stuff. And I noticed, I'm like looking at what she's doing. And, she was really big in dog rescue. That's how we met. She was fostering the dog that I ended up adopting. So she was spending like $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year on dog stuff. And I was like, okay, listen, we're going to be together. I don't know if I'm cool with like you taking your earned income and just blowing it on these dogs. I get it. It's your passion. I'm not one to knock your passion. I just want to finance it a little different. And I'd had some experience here by this point. This, I think, was around probably 2006. So we created an organization known as Pinups for Pups. And it actually got kind of big, to be honest. We were on some reality TV shows. And effectively what we did is my wife was, so she's been in software for a long time, but she's a very good looking woman, and she was doing modeling as well. And so she had all these friends that were also models. So I said, well, listen, why don't we do this? Instead of you putting in your own personal money, that much money, why don't we create a product and get all your best looking friends and your photographer friends and your makeup artist friends and your stylist friends and the animal rescues. And why don't we make a calendar and products and t-shirts and just send all the profits so you can put your effort into like creating the products and fulfilling the orders and marketing and blah, blah, blah. And that's what you're donating, but instead of cash. I think it'll be more effective. It'll be more efficient. So Pinups for Pups was born. We ended up putting out, I think we did like 5 or 6 calendars, did a bunch of fashion shows around the country. Like I said, got some reality shows that filmed, invited us out for filming. Really cool. But once we, and I don't know if you dog mom and dads ever have this experience, but once we had kids, man, all the dog stuff got put aside because we were just consumed with, you know, the responsibilities of being, you know, a good parent. And we just didn't have time for all the dog stuff. And it kind of fizzled out. So that was another one that was good. But, you know, we did an offshoot of that. And we did Pinup Pro Wrestling, which was an idea I had while we were living in Southern California to get these girls doing wrestling. And I actually have these fantastic tapes of these girls. This was the very first shoot stuff that I put out. And it was with these good looking models dressed up in pinup outfits going under the pin or submit catch as catch can rules. So there's still, I have copies of it. It's pretty ridiculous. It's awesome. It's funny. But they're really going. It's competitive wrestling. It's not pro wrestling, but they didn't know what they were doing. Some of them were like, had experience with jiu-jitsu or martial arts, but the other ones. So it was crazy. Anyway, pinups. So we did Pinups for Pups and then Pinup Pro Wrestling. Both of those ended up fizzling out. We didn't, you know, I just wasn't into it that much to do it, but it was fun. Fitnomics, I did that steroid listing. I did, what else? Oh, so, you know, I had my own hypnotist business for a while. I did comedy, hypnotism. I saw people to help them with weight loss and smoking and stuff. And, you know, I was pretty damn good at that. I ended up getting some notoriety for that. I was like on a pack of Stride gum, and I had the Discovery Channel come out and actually film a sizzle reel to do a TV show where I would do like crazy social psychology experiments on unsuspecting people in the public. Now there's a bunch of shows like that. This was probably 2013, I want to say 2014. Anyway, I just lost interest in that. I mean, to be honest, I got burned out. I saw so many clients. And you know, the other thing is that, you know, the branding, the comedy hypnotism was super duper fun, but the branding associated with hypnosis is it just comes off manipulative and creepy. Trust me, every bad guy that does anything to do with any character that does anything with hypnosis in movies is a bad guy. So I just was like, it was just creepy. I started to get weird clients and stuff. I just wasn't into it. So I dropped that. Another one. Okay. So a failure, you know, I don't do it anymore. Another one was when we first moved to Colorado, we decided to retrofit our software to serve the software that my wife and I have a company that we work on, to retrofit it to work for cannabis. And I had a great name named Budista, Budista, which means Buddha in Spanish, Budista. But I thought it was clever because it sounded like a barista in Starbucks. And it was a point of sale software for cannabis. So I thought we could call them Budistas. And now they call them bud tenders. But this was 2016. And we actually, I mean, it was going to go. We actually had an investor who was interested, which put us at the amount of money he was going to contribute, put us immediately at a multi-million-dollar valuation, which was amazing. And then 2016 happens. Trump gets elected. Jeff Sessions is the attorney general. The guy who's the investor, and this guy was a seasoned old timer, dude. Like, he had helped transition gambling from being illegal to legal in Colorado. He had done a lot of the work in Colorado. He had his own dispensary, the highest grossing dispensary, recreational dispensary in Colorado and the world at that time. So I was stoked, man. This is like, fuck, this is perfect. And then he just got freaked out when Trump got elected, and Sessions was like a moron idiot against cannabis, legal cannabis. And he just got freaked out, and he washed his hands, retired from everything. He was older. And just that whole deal just evaporated. So I'm still hoping someday, maybe, because it is the best point of sale and would kill anybody else in the recreational space. But, you know, it's not doing anything. You can check it out. I think I have the website still up, Budista, BUDISTA.com. But a failure, right? What else? Oh, when I first started Thales coaching, which is where I help people with business development, now it's successful. Now it's thriving. I'm hitting crazy revenue targets. I'm happy about it. Okay. It's a lot of work, but, you know, I started that in 2011. Now it wasn't named Thales back then. It was, I called it the Lifestyle Boot Camp. And the premise was about this idea of lifestyle design, where you can basically design your life, you know, so it's not all that different from what I'm doing, but the concept was clearly needed a lot more work and tooling. And this was prior to where now freaking coaching is everywhere. You can get a coach for making love. You can get a coach to show you how to bake a pie. You can get a coach for athletics. You can get a coach for business. There's coaches everywhere now. But when I started, dude, that wasn't a thing. And it was a really hard nut for me to crack because people weren't really into it. They were into athletic coaching, but still, they were still even kind of calling it personal training. And it wasn't. So, you know, it was more like a consulting gig, but people were so conditioned to only hire a consultant for a large corporation and not individually to help with solutions that you might have that could help people. So, you know, that fizzled until I relaunched it. I was still helping people kind of pro bono and just here and there. But, you know, I wasn't doing what I'm doing now with it. And then again, you know, partnering with Mr. Grant Cardone to blow up all the businesses around here and turn them around and help them, really help people do more. So, you know, trying to think if there's any other ones. Dude, I've had so many crazy ideas and I just throw them out. But this is one of the things that I've learned in all of this time. Okay. I come up with really good ideas. I mean, I do. I'm very creative. Some people are creative musically, some of them graphically, like with art or something, some with words in terms of lyrically. Everybody has got talent. Okay. So that's not to demean talent, but there's a lot of great ideas out there. I'm really good at ideas. Okay. But there's a lot of ideas out there. Ideas don't freaking matter unless you can make them, unless they're valuable to other people. It might be valuable to you. Okay, awesome. But in terms of business and making a living, pursuing your passion, turning your passion into your profession, turning a passion into actual net profit, it has to be valuable to other people. This is the thing. You know, all these lefty people, and I don't like people on the right either. I think they're all freaking delusional. But in particular, the people on the left are like tripping, okay? Because, you know, I think their intentions are good, just like I think the people on the right, their intentions are good. But they start tripping, okay? Business, and I don't mean big corporate people that are doing like sketchy shit, polluting the world or, you know, taking over people's lands or anything. I'm not talking big business. I'm talking entrepreneurs and small business. I think that, you know, it is ultimately around people, you know, so people like to vilify and say that you're You're so selfish. All this bullshit. You know what? Maybe that happens on these big megacorps or, the big government and all that. Yeah, they're psychopaths. 100%. I don't got much of a problem. I agree with that. But if you're trying to create something as an entrepreneur, you love people and you are trying to solve a problem. That is really what you're trying to do. And I can't think of few things that are more noble than that. Trying to help people and trying to solve a problem. Okay. So it is crucial that whatever you create needs to do that. And so, in software, there's something known as vaporware. Okay. It usually is derogatory, but it's actually pretty smart from a business perspective. And what it is this idea of, instead of taking all the years and time and just tremendous amount of work to create a piece of software, say, instead, make the offer, say what it's going to do, tell people what it is, the final sales copy, and put it out there before you even make it. Because then you'll see if people actually want to buy it or not. Then it will be worth your time to start working on it and try selling it once you actually start getting orders. Okay. This does a couple of things. Some people say, oh, well, that's so unethical to sell something that you don't even have. Well, I will have it. And I can, in the terms, say, hey, this is in development. Are you interested in it? Here's everything about it. If you're interested, I'll get you in early. You're going to have to wait a little while. And there's an advantage. You get a price advantage for being patient. Right? So it's this vaporware. It's like you create the offer before you create the product or the service completely, to see if there's actual demand before you waste all your effort and money investing in something and find that nobody wants to buy it. That is a huge problem. 50% of businesses fail within the first year. And I believe that's a big reason why. When they are polled, they always say they don't have enough revenue, or I always hear undercapitalized, which is stupid, because that's just the banks trying to be like, oh, you need more money as a loan. No. You need sales. You need revenue. So undercapitalized or not enough revenue. And the other one is that there's not market demand. There's not market demand for your fucking product, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's lesson number one on greatness. You got to get real. You got to be real. You may be enamored with your idea, but other people may not be. Okay. So I like the idea, and this is what I advise my clients, is let's see what the demand is for this thing first. And if it's nothing, we need to tweak the offer until we find people that are actually interested in buying what you're selling at the price you want, right? It needs to be more value. I talked about this yesterday, the positive sum game, or what Grant Cardone calls the winner's exchange, but a positive sum game. It has to be a win-win, right? Your offer, if you're selling something, you have to think about this, about the other person. This isn't just about your idea and how awesome you are. That shit, that ain't going to buy you a steak dinner. What's going to buy you a steak dinner and put food on the table for your family, and maybe even create a legacy after you're dead for years to come. I mean, look at these old companies. I mean, like maybe Sears is a bad example because they're out of business, but they've been going around forever. Look at some of these life insurance companies, hundreds of years, because what they produce is of value to other people. Okay. So that is your very first thing. I try not to look at all this stuff, from that listing to Fitnomics to Pinups for Pups to all of that crap that I shared with you guys. I don't look at them as failures. I look at them as learning. That's where I learned. Does that make sense? I think it's super important that you're willing to take a risk, take action, and maybe take a loss. That's part of the risk thing, right? So anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm a wrap for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please do share this podcast with other people, if you don't mind. I'm just trying to blow up, trying to help people. If you can ask me questions, you can send me DMs. You can put questions in the comments. I will answer them on the next show, or I'll answer them live. I apologize to all the people on Instagram today. I have no idea. The last 2 days was smooth, but I don't know what the technical difficulties were. But we'll try to see if we can't get that ironed out for tomorrow. I do want to let you guys know, listen, I am here to help you guys. So I'm offering I do this for free. Okay. But the amount of information I can get to you is very general. The creative process is very general in terms of your problem. I can't really get into depth on it. I offer multiple ways to help people. I do one-to-one coaching, super expensive, okay, but mega ROI. Working with a client now, and within with about a 2-month period, we increased their sales 400%. Okay, that's real. That's spendable money. So I do one-to-one coaching. I do group coaching. In fact, my next sales and marketing class where we go over all the 10X stuff, you get a membership to Cardone University, all that. That's starting the first week of May, that first Monday. 10X Rev Dev, 10X Rev, like revenue. Gen. No, it's Rev Gen. 10X Rev, like revenue, and generation, Gen, Gen. 10X REVGEN.com. I'll get a ticker up here. That's affordable, man. I'm telling you, again, fantastic return on your investment. And we're just going to be teaching you really how to actually do sales and marketing, the real stuff. And what I love is not only is it been, I've proven it works, but this is stuff from the #1 sales trainer on the planet curriculum from Grant Cardone. Okay. So I hope you guys sign up for that. Again, 10X RevGen, REVGEN, like revenue generation, revgen.com. That's group coaching. You can get my books. Right here is the book. It's Liberation, a New Guide to Prosperity Consciousness. Okay. This book, I've even done it myself, man. I did my own workbook. But basically, it's a series of questions in short, very short little essays that will completely change your mindset and get you going and give you crystal clarity on what you want to do and how to start executing. Okay. And that is just a workbook. It's, I think, $15-20 on Amazon. Okay. Message me. I'll send you the link. What else? I'm here to help, right? And for those of you guys that want to start your own business in a box and you're following me because of wrestling, I just this year launched scientificwrestler.com. And that is it's an affiliate program. Comes with 2 full tuition paid coach and catch certifications. You still got to do the work. It ain't no rubber stamp. It takes a couple of years. Going to be real. But you get 2 of those. That's a $10,000 value. You get complete resale rights to the entire library. My friend Kenny calls what I've done the Library of Alexandria for grappling. You get complete access and resale rights to all of that. And you get all the benefits of being an affiliate. So it's a business in a box, really. You get to run King of Catch wrestling tournaments, all kinds of stuff. So I'm here to help. In addition, you also get the coaching, the business coaching. Then I'm offering the group coaching. You get that as well for free when you sign up as an affiliate. So guys, don't be afraid to fail, right? Point number 2. I mean, really it is, we're integrating all of the points again. You got to get real. Is there actually is there actually a demand for your product? That's getting real. Okay. 2 is, you got to get obsessed. It's got to be something that you love enough that you'll do for free because you are for a while until people start buying it. And then number 3, you got to take a risk. You got to take a risk. Number 4, you got to take massive action. So you've actually got to create the product. That's why I keep telling you about it. To me, the best way to get into the market and test things is a book. So check out that authority-coaching.com. That's my program that will help you get a book published. Go there. Check out what the effect has been on other people, not just me. I mean, it's really the foundation of everything I did in scientific wrestling. And almost every time I launch a new endeavor, no matter what the field is, I try to write a book on it first. It does many things for you. Gets you clear, makes you an expert and authority. And then you also have a product to pitch. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out this long. Again, I'm going to be here every day. Ask me questions. Send me things in the DM. Get in my classes. Get in these classes, dude. Stop being a dummy. I'm just going to be real here. Stop being fucking stupid. You're wasting your money on a bunch of shit that don't work. This works. What I teach works. I've been through 3 financial crises. I told you, I cut my teeth with that dumb listing during the dot-com bubble. Made it through the 2008 Lehman Brothers thing. Made it through lockdown. Thrived. Grew. Expanded my brand. My outreach. The number of people. My impact. The people that know who I am now. Okay? I am here to help you. You will get a guaranteed better return on what you spend with me, money-wise, a return on your investment than you would with any MBA. Faster and a better ROI. Okay? That's my guarantee. So check it out. DM me. Let's figure it out. Let's get on the phone. 15 minutes. Send you the Calendly link. We can figure out a time to see what the fit is here. Okay? And if I can help you. Maybe I can't. I mean, a lot of that's driven by your mindset. If you decide you can and you're willing to work, this ain't a get rich quick thing, dude. All my clients will tell you. I'm a taskmaster, but that's why they're successful. So check out Thales.coaching.com. You just go there. I have a ton of testimonials up there you guys can check out. So I appreciate you, and we will see you guys again on tomorrow. Until then, thanks.